Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. So I don't have anything else lined up just now. I need to look over the Stepmania setup and see if there's anything there that I can reasonably work on. Because I am doing that right now, so I'm kind of testing stuff out. And there's been a couple of little things annoying me here. Like we've got all these monuments that don't exist anymore, and they're very much on the play area right now. So that's a little bit weird. Uh, that's more of a performance thing. This I kind of move up a little bit. That's just a performance. This is pretty much all static data. Now, this is probably a more tractable one than that. Somewhere around there. And then that was just that section. We've still got all this stuff. Expired objects might actually be a thing that I would like to see. So monuments are very much a Elm JavaScript operation. So we could filter them on the Elm side, but that would mean sending them over a lot. Or rather, we'd have to be very much aware of the state we're in, which I think more happens here. Yeah, update monument layer. So we set opacity based on age, global age. That only happens when we update the monuments. So this is where we pick a world to be. And a world, well, worlds aren't super aware of resources. That's generally speaking based on seed. I don't currently have a world is a larger span that corresponds to a collection of settings. One of those settings is the seed, but we also have code changes that may have happened in the middle of a period. Well, monuments have their individual creation time. I suppose you could potentially add a end time. Based on processing speed change. Then it would just be individual markers. I re-encode monuments which had been to the same format. Yeah, just a date. Whole data. Doesn't do a whole lot with monuments. I mean, they exist. So we'd actually have to scan through all of our worlds and look specifically at seed changes. Well, actually, if I'm just going for seed breaks, probably use just arcs. What order are things coming in right now? Oh, all of our animation updates. Current zone, objects. Server list. Monument list. And apparently I missed arc somewhere. Oh, yep, arc list. Span list. Monument list. So right now that's coming in after we do have arcs. Although conceivably we need to allow for the other order. We take that, we decode it. No, actually, does model end up defining which one we use? Yeah, we're just using that directly. Even though we're sort of cheating in that a little bit and doing extra data. Or we're considering doing that. Because these are mostly, well, then I have to be able to encode this type too. Trick. No, you're a maybe. I don't have an end on you. Are you on map 2? Oh, you're still on map 2. And encode won't actually care. Neo. You have to be able to handle maybe. Okay, there we go. It's exactly that. And we get monument list. Oh, we're going to jump to a recent monument, even if it's out of scope. Oh, and we had this pick isolated. But now we need to know something about that server. If it's got any data. Invector Live! Hello! I don't think I recognize your name, but welcome. Okay, I'll look that up later. How's it going? What were you working on? I am working on making these things, which represent a very, very large span of history. Trying to get the ones that are known to have disappeared to actually disappear by default. So I've got to like get some get data together to assign end times to them, and then we actually have to go back and actually filter that when we're setting up map data. So right now, I'm looking at the code that receives the data, and notice Starfall. Looks they're in view. Oh. Yeah, I keep wanting. It looked just interesting. Okay, bye. I keep wanting to actually do a little bit with Erlang first, just so I've got a base there, and Erlang's an interesting language in and of itself. I tried to do one brief thing with it, and I kind of got lost in all of the stuff that's built up around it for like handling full size applications. Essentially, I just wanted to take a thing that would just do redirects to work around same site limits. And that's probably really simple if you understand the sort of Erlang web environment, but and everything. Mm-hmm. So I was dealing with just processing some data and stowing it away. Now I need to look up some other data from that same place. So this is a web map for a online game. The online game has a number of different servers, and all of them have their own independent existences. We mostly just have data for this one because it's the main server that pretty much everybody's on. And it is at times a bit more interesting. So I think somewhere around here, yeah, we can start to see some of the data that's been published about it. And if we go back a little bit, we'll actually get into a different time period where since this age has ended, the biome seed was published, so we can regenerate all of that data and see some more late stage towns built up. But all of these monuments have ceased to exist with the ending of that world. So it's a little bit weird to continue showing them here. Oh, and monuments are these bell towers. Well, that one's partially blocked by a sign. So these take a very, very long time to build, and then when you ring, they can be heard by people across the server. And they get published in an online log at the game. Go down there. So going back to, it was about a year ago these got implemented. And so this is something that's easily mappable. And I literally get this by page scraping this HTML. But I'm just now like kind of getting into the headspace of how I figure out when those map resets probably are that would clear these out. So that information, so the monuments are per server, and that information is per server. So we've got a server structure that we have to look up to do that. Now before, I was only updating that data. Now I'm actually going to need to pull that data out, update the monuments with that, and then write it in. I guess I might still be able to do that in here. Well. Oh, okay, problem. I was trying to save myself re-encoding the monument data. So we were sending the raw JSON string over to JavaScript land where we do the map markers. If I want to assign the end times on the Elm side, I'm going to have to turn it into Elm structure, update it, and then re-encode it back. The other way to do it would be to process that entirely on the JavaScript. I don't think I'm sending ArcList directly over there. Yeah, we build up a compound object with this and a couple other things and send that over. So I could try to like re-infer that on the other side. Monument lists are probably small enough that it's not too terrible to re-encode. It's just a lot of extra work. So we're not necessarily going to be doing that in here, and throwing it over the wall happens outside of there anyway. So we know the server ID here, which means we can get model.servers. So what are you going to be? Going to be dict.get server ID. That's a maybe because that server might not exist. A dict update, which was itself a maybe because uh, this is value maybe. Uh, arcs and default value is just going to be an empty list. That's not arcs. That's not server. That's arcs. Do I want to keep the server around? It would allow me to dict insert it later without dealing with the maybe. Technically, that saves us a lookup. Oh, but then I would have to default the server to. Well, we'll leave that for now. If that provides data that we're not using yet. Uh-oh. Maybe with default. Oh, right. We might not have fetched anything. Right, your remote data. Your default is actually. Not requested. And for my purposes here, I think I've got a data with default. Although maybe if I set up a function for this, I can handle that there. Now, this might be more of a thing for here. Because we have where we do all of this stuff to make world. I'm really just going to be, let's see, it's going to be, it's a two-part loop. It is a little bit of a well, probably ordered. Oh, I forget what I used for this. Server, is it server ID? Or is this all of them? Yep, that's all of them. That's a little bit more reasonable. 79, 76. So actually, that's like they're reverse ordered. I've actually been dealing with that. Recent, yep, head. So I was actually counting on that. So this does a thing. Well, that's per item merge of that. Build worlds. All right, you got a list of all times we had to care about. And advance to the thing that did that. That was a 3-part coiteration. I could just do the n² version of this, where we go over every monument in every period to try and find out where it ends. I guess to a certain extent, I only care about the end times, because those are times where it's going to cut off. Anything else with monuments here? Have monument? No, not really. Arcs and monument. Could perhaps compress monuments down, or arcs down to just end times. Although technically the beginning of the first arc would also have been a reset point. And then we are looking for you're looking for the smallest time that was after the monument's creation. I could probably get a version of this. Well, actually, for a 2-part iteration, you can kind of do a ping pong thing. Maybe. Or you go through every arc and then you peel things off of the monument list until hit its endpoint, or whatever time you're using. And then all of those have that endpoint. Then you pong back and you just take the next one. So that might actually be too bad. Okay, so you're all dealing with oh, you're a start end. For anything start and end. Well, these initially don't have ends. That's with just a oh, in a range maybe. Oh well, you're only checking start time. So we want to the thing we're going to be changing is the monument list. So first we would have. Now, what did I do with Rebuild Worlds? You took straight up lists. There, we've already taken care of vaulting thing. Take a list monument, it's going to return a list. So that's sort of like the outer appearance we want. Just a function that does that. And the idea was got our list of arcs, and we're just going to start taking those in order, and we're going to take those in order. Now, I might actually need gold here. So something over arcs, which might actually do that. You can define a subroutine for that. So that is going to be something with, yeah, it probably is going to have to be a fold. And I use fold left and fold right. Something to get the for arcs, I think we want fold left. I don't know if we'll be able to use a fold to get the first iteration on. Fold L. Ever reverse. If any of this in the rebuild. Okay. So that was a time and the new list we're building up. Accumulator result. Add version change. Version change. All right, so it passes in, there's a sort of accumulator, which I've sometimes done in compound. And we have our new thing. Font change. Accumulator to accumulator. Well, our accumulator should be the new monument. Well, or any given update. So if we're going over arcs, now we've got, well, this is still plural monuments because we're going over. And it's going to be a new list of monuments. So now, what was the Time, New Ages. Okay, so you are the implicit application of a list of worlds, turning a new list of worlds. So it is item accumulator. It's going to be one arc. A possible list of monuments. Wait a minute. Oh no. Okay, so you have the incoming list of monuments and you have the outgoing. The partially processed, the yet to be processed. If I just do this for every arc. Yeah, I don't think it's going to ping pong. It's going to go for every arc. Okay, so what we have to do here is, instead of just passing this up front, how did I do this before? I did a cum result before. Wait, accumulator. Oh, I must have been processing some state there. I guess we would think of it as taking the monument list to new monument list. You would be that state to that state. So now we've got like that. All right, so you will what will you do? You will either get a monument and a rest, or you will be an empty list, in which case we're done. If we have data, then we call this again. Same arc. Well, do we? It actually depends on the comparison check. Got a monument and we've got an arc. Arc end times are maybes. Monument start times are not. Arc start times should not. So if monument start is within this arc, and these are comparisons of POSIXes. What do I have in range? That's just time greater than. Overlap is for a span with. I don't know if I have a convenience for that. I had a very, very specific algorithm I was. So I need the only time a monument has initially is its start time, which we might potentially need twice. Time POSIX to millis. Monument.date. The others I could do inline. So if although it would kind of get some junk out of the way, wouldn't it? Arc.start. Now end is where it gets interesting. I'm pretty sure that's a maybe. So it's in range. We're after the start and it hasn't ended. Yeah, so it's like we have if start less than time. And then we have to deal with the maybe. Could I perchance? Well, double conversion on that. And as long as I do an equal comparison, that'll still put it in range. Then our result is, so that's pending, so that's rest. And equals arc.end, so that's still the maybe. Well, thing. This recurses until we run out of monument. Same arc. And then this one, if we are no longer within range, then actually, this stays the same, and we expect the next arc to pick it up. Is that syntactically correct? Oop, lost her then. List monument. Okay, so you. Right, so this would be like a tuple.second. Now, I might have to check this for, like, if we have no arcs, do we actually shuffle anything? Oh, yeah, because it just stays here and doesn't move. And if for whatever and if we're doing this in order, we have a bunch of monuments that are before the first arc. Their start time will be less than the monument. And it still doesn't deal with the empty list. And that is there. And somewhere we have to reverse the. And I might have to reverse them at the end. Now, we have to deal with empty arcs. That will never call this. And tuple second won't do us any. We could just say empty list. Or is there like a list.empty? Firefox in high contrast mode does not handle the home package website. This is core. length is empty. So either the open end should catch everything, or it will be less than the start should catch everything. I might want to verify that we're always emptying that. This wasn't strictly a ping pong thing. I guess this is sort of handling the advance arcs step of that. If it was a ping pong, then we'd have to have a state that was like the list of arcs, the unprocessed monuments, processed. So fair enough. Do I need the? Well, I don't have a. I think Elm takes that as argument too. The whole data. No. That's something that can kind of be used elsewhere. Actually, I guess I don't think I ever fully import that. Yeah, I actually don't use a lot of those. So that would be like data dot. Yeah, I. Oh, did I have a test? Yep. That's why those are exposed. Could conceivably test this as well, but it might be worth trying. All right. Monument list. That monument list. All right, so we got our arc list. Code, get us a default list. Got the arcs, and then that takes the monuments. Oh, and that was a very, very big thing. I didn't expect anything to be left in the first list, which is kind of exactly why we did that. I mean, maybe the debugger would. Isn't that nice? Okay, yeah. Oh, I know what? No, what I didn't do. No, I did reverse it. Now I might want to watch the list that I then reverse, or that how this comes out. First of all, 7, 6, 2, 7. And none of these had ends assigned. Well, interesting. Time is less than start. Oh, what order do we process arcs in? Do those need to be reversed? Okay, 1, 5, 6, 4, 4, 5, 6, 6. Yeah, so arcs are forward. One, 5, 6, 2. Okay, so it does seem like it's mostly the older ones got into the process list, and somehow we terminated without finding a home for it. Maybe these actually aren't sorted? We definitely never hit this case, or we shouldn't have hit this case. Hmm. Process those arcs. You're gonna need a little help. And this is gonna have to go through. Oh, I'm not seeing what I'm calling this, if I'm calling this. So 4, 8 is way before 5, 6. Oh, interesting. It ordered this last. So 4, 8, 4, 9, 4, 9, 4, 9, 4, 9. Okay, so that's a Seems to be happening in the expected order. Wait, okay, so we are advancing monuments. Oh wait, do I need to call you? Yes, because we haven't changed arc. We need to keep going until we find arcs that does contain, and it's only when we fall off the end. Don't. Okay, that result. Interesting that this one could press, the other one didn't. Actually has an empty empty early part. So that is, well, reassigning ends. You have an end 579. Actually, that's going to reverse the monument list again, so that will put us back where we want to be. You've got an end. These don't have an end. So maybe this is the case where we say your end is the start. It's not probably where it actually disappeared, but as far as we know, it definitely ended there if it didn't end sooner. Okay, I left some of that stuff in. Okay. That puts end times in there, which unfortunately means that we have to re-encode this. This was the case where what? Oh, okay. So this is the case where we need to jump. Oh, but they both have the context of this monument list. So both of them are going to have to re-encode this. It's going to be like a code string. Encode int value string. That's encode. Griddified string. Okay, so probably that would be like a 0 in this case. That's probably like indent. Yeah. Okay. Actually, it's JSON.encode.encode. What did I do with that? We even have JSON code. I haven't had JSON. Code 0. Oh, no, wait. A value is a... Oh, convert a value into a string. No, this is still a value. Oh, right, because I just need a value. So I just call... Called, monuments, I think? Actually, we don't necessarily need... That's the only, well, technically we should perhaps. Oh, yep, and there's encode.monuments. Based on server.monuments, which if we've set that, right, this is for resending it later, which we should have set that to a proper value. Now, technically, these are asynchronous events. We should be looking at doing something similar when we get arcs as well. Oh, I still got that output. Here. All right, JavaScript side. Yep. Yep. Map. Monument list. Message.monument. Well, okay, monument layer. Okay, an end. You have an end. And that makes this a bit more time dependent. Which has not previously been time dependent. So do we have a definite point where we say, hey, something changed here? Okay, we do record there were changes. So this would be a time we could reprocess monuments. Possibly. Okay. So that is a total clear and reset. Which we weren't really making like incremental changes before. I don't know if that's the kind of thing where we can easily associate a marker with a monument. I mean, I could probably capture this. Record it as long as I make sure to clean that up. Yeah, so you get passed through, you get turned into markers. Oh, actually, you have a data. Okay, okay. Do anything with Not really at present. It's just a plain old layer group of monuments. So we do keep the data around, and since we update that when we get new data, that will free it up for garbage collection. Data for each new point dot marker. Then we would be able to go back through layer data and perhaps find those markers to only, well, In a sense, I do want to remove the invisible one. Just that it's not actually a change. We could save some work. Actually, yeah. This gives me what I need. Hmm. So I could have this function handle this sort of caching internally. It would have to not pass a parameter here. Just layer.options. Seems like it. Okay, so now when we select by time, and the net result is layers shift, which could have been a seed change. And we haven't actually made this do anything yet. I'm also not set up in a good test case. I guess what we do want to see that things are still around. That's the age, the date. I'm not actually passing time. Is it update data overlay? Data layer. Let's just set data layers. No, because the data is already it's set. It's when we draw that custom layer that we do the filtering. Well, you have a time. And let's see. So this is going to end up being optional. You just have to be map time. Huh. That sort of makes age already variable a little bit. That's an absolute old. Hmm. Maybe leave a opacity out of it for. But we have a date. If point dot start. Oh wait, are you a date or are you? Those are date objects. Map time is MS. Typically. Oh no, it's a date. Okay. Oh, but it's also comparable to. I wonder if I'm using that differently. Okay, I think crashed. So this is a bell tower that does exist here. So we've already got this backwards. Oh, you know what? I have to check for point dot end existing. Now, this one should have an actual end. Oh, no, yeah, I still left that be an unknown. Undefined, undefined, undefined. Oh, so we processed that with map time unknown. Okay. Uh, oh, and update monument. You have an actual. Okay, and those are incomparables. So all the point times need to be well. Well, I did the starts, not the end. So you have date. Right. That point dot start, it is date. I could possibly default that to something. And this simplify this. Makes this a little bit more complicated. Since we're doing less than or equal, that work. I mean, I guess now would work as well. Probably. Okay, those are dates. This is... Are those actually comparable? Well, that's in range. But everything else? Oh, everything else disappeared. I might not be catching the moments where first that was also that was a really volatile time, and then we have the larger point. So there are probably other clearing events here. Actually, don't go back far enough, huh? Oh no, it was just a bit lagged. The console log probably wasn't helping that. Way back. Right. We saw that it was about a year ago that monuments came into existence. Oh no, actually, if I was looking at dates, that was when Big Server 2 came into. Yeah, it's like a possibly made function as well. There was probably an event there somewhere. Actually, all in this period, we're in this box. It usually went too fast to develop any monument. And we're out of the box and flying to the west. Okay. Now I probably should, given that we're culling, probably should adjust the age. However, this should probably be an option. It is kind of useful for reference finding to, see these typical monument patterns and that point of reference. Now, we do have the gradical, the thing you have to turn on, and it's often kind of crowded. And this isn't like as good of a visual reference for all the stuff. We reordered everything. We're not quite done with monuments. Files. All right, now we want that to be optional. It's even debatable what the default should be. So probably this ends up being our garbage bin. It's getting kind of big. And it was originally mostly for this stuff, and just all the other little flags kind of there. Monuments don't really have a anywhere else here, but Well, we need a view. We also need a place to put it in the model. Oh yeah, and model got extracted out of here because we were just getting so many little structures and things. So this would be something like data animated or all objects. That's life data information. Time zone is for time. And one argument would just be animated, not animated. Even a lot of the static views. So data animated actually ended up somewhere. And that's all the object stuff. There. Yeah, it's all that data. Let's see. So do we say show all monuments? Or do we say hide? How do you describe that? Well, we want this setting to describe what it does. Just saying show all. Not describe what it's doing. We want something about this to say that it is. Describe this. Uh, show only current monuments. Would be default on. Right now, because I think that's what I want most of the time. And then we also have to deal with what happens in a default view. All right. Hide monuments. We've got state effect interacts with this. Jump to last monument interacts with this. I put the unit in here. I did. Now this actually gets processed on the JavaScript side. This is when we're going to kind of have to throw over. All right, so that should get us back to a compiling state. We need a UI. So like fade tall objects checkbox. Which needs a change event. And let's hope that fits. So now it's going to be mad because we don't handle that message. I guess toggle fade. And we're going to throw it over leaflet as well. Tiles. It controls the wrong setting. Yeah, well, I've got the debugger open. Still unfortunate. Now, is that some of the settings that maybe I was trying to separate that from the animation stuff. Because you've got padding 10. What does that mean? Okay, that hasn't really affected the item-to-item spacing. That might be a property of the parent container. And we don't want to totally compress it. Yeah, that has an effect. These are still very spaced out. Hmm. Oh, right, and then you open up more stuff. That's sort of some of your space. It's the padding of both things. I guess a checkbox thing. Oh well. I might need to have some other place for settings at this point. All right, so Elm talks to JavaScript through ports. Port to define import modules. You could make your main import module. I generally like to isolate them. Ends up being a little bit boilerplatey if you're doing lots of little flags like this. Now, maybe I could make like a structure of flags and over the whole thing. Oh, notes. Effect, jump to last monument. I was thinking of something. Oh. Arcs updating after monuments. Okay, that's impl. That's an object layer. Or option. No dot layer. So this is really only a single thing. It's not involved. We can get it from there. However, you are then going to want to monument layer. This will show up as null, which is false if it has set. We're actually saying that we want our default to be the so monument overlay. Uh, option. Mainly the only option we care about. We show it if this ends up being weird as a test, but it's not. But like hide on non-current monuments. No, well, we show all monuments, but then we don't have a good all compared to what is the question. It would be like show non-current monument. Oh, you're an or. Oh, did I update? Why? Yep. Oh, and it wouldn't be called fate. Yeah, so sometimes it's useful to have this sort of reference, especially when you're really zoomed out. You know, if you know you're looking for a particular point in history. But you would also might want to know, hey, there was activity around here at this time. Okay, I actually didn't have the setting in here because I was working on that at the time. Yeah, I could do it as hide if I knew if I had a better name for that state. Available. So we're always assuming now is greater than date. And we just have this sort of hand-rolled age phase. I guess I could just custody of those. Uh, Probably want to do something like that, but after looking at current time, they were relatively dark. And then, so we can see this. Yeah, you can sort of see some of those newer ones fading out and some other thing. Well, I think I'm backlogged with the rendering. I saw these fully come in. Yep, that's fine. Maybe those are recent thing? Oh, yeah, well. If you really want to know when they are, you used to turn on the filter again. Aid menu. Oh, paths. All right, jump to last. Get a little bit of so far, we've done all of our filtering on JavaScript side. So this came in most recent. So we could always just take. So we would have to get the current arc, which I guess we have to do for this. But this is like pre-arcs, not the greatest example. We're doing stuff around here and go over there that ought to line up. Yeah, well, no monuments there. You're always going to the end. There were some that had monuments. Again, Arclit is one time we might want to pick one. Well, or all right, so if we're just loading up the map and picking a default time, we're going to have, actually, we're going to have a model current arc. And we're going to trust that, well, that could possibly get out of sync with the current server. That may or may not have an end time. And we are going to want a list. No, there's no master list. Keep elements that satisfy the. I kind of want like a drop while. Take, drop, partition. Yeah, to do it efficiently, I'd almost have to write it myself. So I would want to drop. I need the end time? Start time of monuments? The most recent monument that has not been terminated by time we loaded up. So I could do that strictly by current time, and if we've updated the end times of monuments, we just keep dropping them while. That's that. Let's list.head. Now I kind of want to do that inline. And that would be for a actually existing time. End would be model dot current arc, which is a maybe. Maybe dot map to end time, and Well, that might be all I need there, because it takes care of two. Well, end is itself possibly unknown. So that's still a maybe. And given that we have that time, we want to drop monuments until we get to... Oh, no, actually, no, not end time. We have a current time. Well, we might have a current. Or is this map time? Okay. But it's also a maybe. Okay, increment, yeah, I don't like utility stuff. I want a function of a to bool. And a list of a to a list of a. I guess we just go ahead and do list. I did not see any list functions. I mean, you could do things like partition or filter. They're going to process the entire thing, and I have this. Maybe I'm over optimizing. Else. Nothing qualifies. All right. This is drop while. So by that, we would there. If the test failed, we would want the full list. Okay, list head monuments. Oh, that's already list. That's already list.head. Ah. Drop while. Given a monument, which all we care about is its end value. Which is a maybe. We have a map time, which is also a maybe. There's a maybe map 2. If either of the if map time is unknown, we want to do nothing. And if monument end time is unknown, No, I want a full range test on it. Or mate. Well, I can only decompose it like that if it's call it that. Uh, does this all depends on start time? Or, model.map time. So I could do another map inside of there. Did I do something like this already? Well, this test is similar. What I do with it is, oh yeah, all the POSIX to mill. I'm looking at arc and arc start monument dates. This is a little bit different. Of yes, time. If it's nothing, then we do not drop. Now this is a POSIX. We also have to consider this is very similar to the bunch of lets again. Can I do something with this to pre-convert it? Well, I still need the maybiness. It's unknown. Well, I think our current time can also be in. Oh, right, because you are POSIX. And it has to be called start. I guess we should do that. Oh, you're a maybe. with default. I'm going to do that, and the comparisons work. Say if. See, this is monument time. Current time. Actually, is this just a return? This says drop while. That would be where it's in range. Actually, do I only need to consider end here? I want to jump to a not yet. Not that. I need end here. But I was thinking map 2. If it didn't have a time, didn't have an end. Okay, so yes, on most recent, very often not have an end. Actually, I don't think that works here. Well, that it might be 0, but it is an actual value. But that would mean we wouldn't drop anything. Drop until we get to monument who start. Drop any monuments who start. Actually gets rid of all this garbage. We drop the monument. Things that came along after this. So we don't need end. Is there a useful value we could provide for model.map? That would say drop while time. So like if we did 0, be less than everything, no monument. Time dot now, which we're not guaranteed to have. Like, well, it's defaulted to 0. Like, I don't like doing this just every time. We've got that initial case. Oh, right, they weren't originally start end. Okay, so for a given time. Oh, no, wait a minute. This is, if we don't have a position. That just went to 0. We didn't have monuments yet. But monuments did come in. So what was our condition? Do we have a metal.map time? The list of monuments should. We do. Like that log. Oh, okay. Processed a bunch that time. Which suggests, well, do we actually stop where we're supposed to stop here? That seems like it stops at the right place. Oh, but ever since then, I've been reloading with a position, for one thing. I changed my zoom. Still did 0. Oh, that should have had a location. But it certainly jumped to a monument. Well, that's going to update. Or not. Oh, only if it's default center. Hmm. That view from route. Okay, well. Hmm. So that might be damaging our ability to go somewhere. Well, just out there. About. Oh, right, I need coordinates there, not the full URL, because that's public map. Well, that comes up okay. Oh no, wait, I went to a position, but I wasn't a coordinates. So that'll just be 0, which is interesting at this time. That monument? Well, that might be a load order. Truth? No, because this is when the monuments come. Oh, well, maybe I was doing a clear URL, not a reload. Or maybe there's some timing issue in when map time. Should take care. Plus monument. Oh, but this is well, yeah, this can't depend on that setting, because the only time we're going to be at default center is when we're first loading up, when the setting will be at. And yep, that is getting far enough into the day that I do want to eat lunch at some. Before that, I'm going to do some Stepmania. So, if you were here for programming, thanks for stopping by. I am going to be stopping programming now. I will be back very shortly to do Stepmania. You're welcome to stick around for that if you just want to kind of hang out. I bounce around in a pad. Happy to talk about anything, but it's not doesn't be a talkative crowd today. This is about when I'm usually on, so sometime around now I'll break off from programming depending on when we wrap stuff up and go over to Stepmania. I will drop the stream briefly to change settings, and then it'll take a few minutes to set up the pad, but otherwise I will actually be back in a little bit if you want to hang out. Bit.